In life, there are moments when you stumble upon something so impactful, so transformative, that it feels almost unreal, like discovering a hidden key to unlock your true potential. Today, we're going to explore exactly that. 5 habits that have the power to completely revolutionize your life in just 1 week. I know it sounds ambitious, perhaps even a bit far-fetched, but trust me, what I'm about to share with you isn't the usual recycled advice you find in self-help books. These are the real, raw habits that I've personally adopted, tested, and lived through. I've faced the struggles, embraced the breakthroughs, and emerged on the other side with a profound sense of clarity and purpose. These habits aren't just about tweaking your routine, they're about rewiring your mindset, enhancing your mental well-being, and setting you on a path where each day becomes a deliberate step toward the life you truly want to lead. Whether you're striving to sharpen your focus, elevate your mood, or simply reclaim control over your days, these habits are your blueprint for change. So settle in, maybe with a cup of coffee by your side, and prepare to dive deep into practices that are not only actionable, but also transformative. These aren't mere theories to ponder. They're practical steps you can start implementing today, with the potential to create a ripple effect across every aspect of your life. Throughout this journey, I'll also be sharing personal stories, real moments from my life that illustrate how these habits took root and began to shift everything around me. This video isn't just an exploration, it's an invitation. An invitation to see how small, intentional changes can lead to significant, lasting transformation. I encourage you to watch through to the end, absorb what resonates with you, and consider integrating these habits into your own life. And once you do, share your experiences with our community. Let's turn these insights into action, and together we can build a collective journey of continuous growth and improvement. Remember to subscribe to the channel, as the journey doesn't end here. It's just the beginning. Let's take this leap together and see where these habits can take us. This is more than just a video. It's a call to step into the best version of yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Habit 1. Waking up early. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. These words from Marcus Aurelius remind us of the importance of action over contemplation. The simple act of waking up early is more than just setting an alarm clock. It's a declaration, commitment to start the day with purpose and intention. I wasn't always a morning person. For years, my bed was my sanctuary, the snooze button my accomplice in the crime of delaying life. Mornings were often a blur, a mad dash to get out the door, leaving me feeling like I was perpetually playing catch-up. But everything changed when I made the conscious decision to rise with the sun. Setting my alarm for 5 a.m. was not an easy transition. First few mornings felt like a battle against my own instinct, each second a struggle between the comfort of my bed and the promise of a day fully seized. Yet, as with most things in life, perseverance paved the way for transformation. By the 3rd day, a shift began. Quiet of the early morning hours, undisturbed by the world's noise, became a canvas for creativity, reflection, and growth. It's in those serene moments that I found time to do what truly mattered, things that had long been sidelined by the rush of a typical day. Instead of diving headfirst into emails and tasks, I started with activities that nurtured my body and mind. A light stretch, a mindful walk in the cool morning air, or even a session of deep breathing. These small acts became the anchors of my day, grounding me before the world could impose its demand. This early start allowed me to approach my day with a calm that I had never experienced before. The luxury of a slow, mindful breakfast, a moment of gratitude while sipping my coffee, the unhurried planning of my day. These rituals became the foundation for a more centered, focused life. One morning, as I sat quietly watching the first rays of sunlight break over the horizon, I was struck by the profound beauty of these moments. The world bathed in soft light, silent and still. It was in this stillness that I understood the true power of waking up early. It's not just about productivity. It's about reclaiming a part of your life that's often lost in the daily grind. It's about giving yourself the space to breathe, to think, to simply be. While waking up early isn't a one-size-fits-all solution, it's an experiment worth trying. Start by setting your alarm just 15 minutes earlier than usual and see what unfolds. Gradually, as you adjust, you might find yourself with a little more time, not just to get things done, but to set the tone for your entire day. It's not merely about gaining extra hours, but about the quality of those hours, using them wisely to cultivate a life of intention, presence, and calm. Remember, as Seneca wisely put it, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. The dawn of each day is an opportunity, a blank slate, a chance to live deliberately and with purpose. Embrace it. Start tomorrow. The morning might just surprise you. Habit 2. Daily exercises. Building on the foundation of an early start, the next step is to harness that morning energy into something that moves you, literally. It's not just about rising early, it's about what you do with those extra hours. Aristotle famously said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Daily exercise embodies this philosophy perfectly. I wasn't always the embodiment of fitness. In fact, like many, I used to rationalize my inactivity with all the usual excuses. Too tired, too busy, too much effort. But one day, I realized that these were just stories I was telling myself to stay comfortable. Comfort, however, rarely leads to growth. I decided to make a change. I started with a commitment so small it seemed almost insignificant. 20 minutes of movement a day. It didn't matter what it was. Sometimes yoga, sometimes a brisk walk, other times a set of simple bodyweight exercises. The idea was not to overwhelm myself, but to create a habit. The first few days tested my resolve. My body resisted this new routine. My muscles ached, my mind looked for distractions. But as the Stoics teach us, we grow through discomfort. By the fourth day, I felt a shift, not just physically but mentally. The soreness was still there, but so was a newfound sense of clarity and energy that had been missing for a long time. It was during a quiet morning stretch that I experienced a moment of revelation. As I felt the tightness in my muscles ease with each breath, I realized this wasn't just exercise. It was an act of self-compassion, a daily declaration that I was worth this effort. Exercise became more than a means to an end. It became a ritual of self-care, a way to start my day with a win that set a positive tone for everything that followed. The benefits went beyond the physical. I found that my posture improved, not just in how I stood, but in how I approached life. More upright, more confident, more grounded. With every run, every squat, every stretch, I was not just strengthening my body, but also training my mind to embrace challenges rather than avoid them. And as my physical strength grew, so did my emotional resilience. The moments when I wanted to quit, when my body felt heavy and my will faltered, were the very moments that built character, reinforcing a mindset of perseverance. One day, I decided to challenge myself further with a hike up a nearby hill. As I reached the top, my heart pounding and sweat dripping, I looked out over the vast landscape below and felt a profound sense of achievement, not just because I had reached the summit, but because I had pushed through the resistance to get there. That's the power of daily exercise. It's not just about physical conditioning, it's about conditioning your spirit to rise above excuses and to prove, day in and day out, that you are stronger than you think. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Start with what you can manage and build from there. Even if it's just a few minutes of movement, make it a daily practice. Think of it as forging a blade. With each effort, you're sharpening yourself, preparing for whatever life throws at you. As you commit to this practice, you'll find that the discipline you develop in exercise spills over into other areas of your life, your work, your relationships, your personal growth. To echo the wisdom of Lao Tzu, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So take that first step. Lace up your shoes, roll out your mat, and start moving. You don't need to run a marathon. You just need to start. Every day is an opportunity to improve, to become a little bit better than you were yesterday. And before you know it, these small efforts will have transformed not just your body, but your entire life. Habit 3. Journaling. As with daily exercise that strengthens the body, journaling is a workout for the mind. An unexamined life is not worth living, Socrates once declared, emphasizing the necessity of introspection. Journaling serves as that examination, a daily practice that invites us to confront our thoughts, explore our emotions, and understand our deeper selves. At first glance, it might seem trivial, just putting words on paper. But in reality, it's much more. It's a discipline that brings clarity to chaos, transforming the random musings of our minds into a coherent narrative of who we are and who we want to become. I wasn't always convinced of the value of journaling. Like many, I dismissed it as something for people with too much time on their hands, not realizing its profound impact. But a week of consistent journaling flipped that perspective on its head. I started small. Every night before bed, I set aside 10 minutes to write. It wasn't about crafting perfect prose or solving life's biggest problems. It was about unloading my thoughts and seeing what was really there. At first, my entries were simple. A recap of my day, things that brought me joy, the moments that frustrated me. But soon, the act of writing became a gateway to deeper reflection. I started to notice patterns, repetitive worries, recurring joys, fears that I hadn't fully acknowledged. Through this process, I began to understand what was within my control and what was not. Much like the Stoic practice of distinguishing between what we can change and what we must accept. One evening, after a particularly challenging conversation with a friend, I sat down to journal. Instead of ruminating over the exchange, I wrote about it. I dissected what had been said, how it made me feel, and what I could learn from the experience. The act of writing transformed my perspective. I could see not just the immediate emotional response, but the broader lesson. Importance of communication, the value of empathy, and the need for patience. Another transformative aspect of journaling is its power to track progress. It's like looking back on a trail you've hiked. Each entry marks a step forward, no matter how small. I began to write about my small wins, the tiny victories that, in the moment, seemed insignificant. But when viewed collectively, it painted a picture of growth and perseverance. One day, I wrote about a new hobby I had picked up, learning to play the guitar. Initially, my fingers struggled to find the right notes, and frustration set in. But as I documented each practice session, I could see my improvement over time, which kept me motivated to continue. I also incorporated a daily gratitude practice into my journaling. Each evening, I listed 3 things I was thankful for. Small things like the warmth of the sun on my face or a kind word from a colleague. This simple shift in focus from what was missing to what was already present in my life brought a wave of positivity that permeated my days. It's like shining a light into a dark room. Suddenly, what was hidden becomes visible, and the room is not as intimidating as it once seemed. Journaling, I found, is much more than just a therapeutic exercise. It's a tool for self-discovery, a way to untangle the complex web of our thoughts and emotions. It gives us a private space to be honest, to explore without fear of judgment. And through that honesty, we uncover truths about ourselves that we might otherwise overlook in the rush of everyday life. If you've never tried journaling, I encourage you to give it a go. Don't worry about getting it right. Start simple. Write about your day, your thoughts, your feelings. Let it be a stream of consciousness or a structured reflection. The goal isn't perfection. Practice. Over time, you might find, as I did, that this small act becomes a powerful catalyst for personal growth and self-awareness. So grab a notebook, find a quiet corner, and start exploring the landscape of your mind. You might be surprised by what you discover. Habit 4. Mindful eating. How often do we eat, not out of hunger, but out of habit? Epictetus once advised, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This idea resonates deeply with the concept of mindful eating, where the true value of a meal isn't found in its abundance, but in our ability to fully experience and appreciate it. In today's fast-paced world, eating has become a secondary activity, something we do while working, watching TV, or scrolling through our phones. We've lost touch with the act of nourishing our bodies, treating it as just another task to be completed, rather than a moment to be savored. Mindful eating challenges this modern disconnect by bringing us back to the present, urging us to focus on each bite as if it were the first and last. It's not about the quantity of food, the quality of the experience. When you eat mindfully, you're practicing a form of self-discipline, choosing to be fully aware, to engage with the food on your plate, and to listen to what your body truly needs. To start incorporating mindful eating into your life, Begin by eliminating distractions during meals. Set the table as if you were hosting a guest. No phones, no laptops, just you and your food. Before you begin, take a moment to breathe deeply, centering yourself in the moment. As you eat, pay close attention to the flavors, textures, and aromas. Notice how the food feels in your mouth, how it tastes, and how it makes you feel. This simple shift in focus can turn a routine meal into a rich sensory experience, one that leaves you more satisfied and more connected to your body. I remember one afternoon when I decided to have a quiet lunch at a park near my home. Instead of grabbing a quick sandwich on the go, I prepared a simple salad and sat down at a bench under a tree. As I took my first bite, I was struck by the freshness of the vegetables, crispness of the lettuce, and the sweetness of the cherry tomatoes. Each flavor stood out, vibrant and distinct, as if I were tasting these foods for the first time. The experience was both grounding and invigorating, reminding me that food is not just fuel, but a source of pleasure and gratitude. Mindful eating also invites us to explore our relationship with food on a deeper level. Are we eating because we're truly hungry, or are we using food as a distraction from our emotions? The Stoics taught us the importance of understanding our desires and controlling them, rather than being controlled by them. By paying attention to why and how we eat, we can begin to break free from unhealthy patterns, whether it's stress eating, boredom snacking, or overeating out of habit. Instead of reaching for a snack when you feel anxious, pause and ask yourself what you really need. Maybe it's not food, but a moment of rest, a walk, or a conversation with a friend. One evening, after a particularly long day, I found myself craving something sweet. But instead of automatically reaching for a dessert, pause. I took a deep breath and asked myself if I was truly hungry. What I realized was that I was more tired than anything else. Instead of indulging in a sugary treat, I opted for a soothing cup of chamomile tea and took a few moments to relax. That simple act of mindfulness not only prevented unnecessary indulgence, but also left me feeling more at peace and less weighed down by my day. Incorporating mindful eating into your daily routine can be transformative. It's a practice that extends beyond the table, influencing how you approach other areas of your life with greater awareness and intentionality. It's about reclaiming the simple joy of eating, making each meal a moment of reflection and connection with your body. Start with just one meal a day, perhaps breakfast, where you can sit quietly and set a positive tone for the day ahead. As you continue, you'll find that this practice doesn't just change the way you eat. It changes the way you live, bringing a deeper sense of fulfillment and gratitude into your everyday life. So the next time you sit down to eat, remember that mindful eating is not just about nourishment. It's about presence. It's about taking a break from the rush of life to truly appreciate the sustenance in front of you. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, think, to enjoy, to love." Apply that same philosophy to your meals, and you'll find that food becomes more than just sustenance. It becomes a celebration of life itself. Habit 5. Limiting screen time. How much of your life are you truly living, and how much is just a blur of screens? Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." In our modern age, this couldn't be more relevant. We live in a world where screens have become a constant presence, demanding our attention, dictating our emotions, and often leaving us feeling drained and disconnected. The Stoics believed in being mindful of our time, in guarding it as the most precious resource. When we limit our screen time, we're reclaiming that resource, choosing to be present in our own lives rather than getting lost in a digital world. The principle here is simple but powerful. Control your technology, don't let it control you. This isn't about demonizing screens. They have their place and purpose. It's about being intentional with how we use them. Ask yourself, how often do you reach for your phone out of habit rather than necessity? How many hours are lost in the endless scroll of social media or binge-watching TV shows that add little value to your life? The Stoic approach would be to recognize this behavior, understand its impact, and make a conscious effort to change. So, what can you do to start limiting your screen time effectively? Begin with small, manageable steps. Set specific boundaries for yourself, perhaps no screens during meals, or an hour before bed. Replace that time with activities that nourish your mind and body, reading a book, going for a walk, or simply sitting quietly with your thoughts. Just as a gardener prunes away excess branches to allow the tree to flourish, we must trim the unnecessary use of screens to let our minds and lives thrive. One technique that has worked wonders for me is the tech-free hour. Every evening, I designate 1 hour where all devices are off limits. During this time, I engage in activities that bring me joy and relaxation, like writing in my journal or practicing meditation. This not only helps me disconnect from the digital world, but also reconnect with myself, fostering a deeper sense of peace and clarity. Another practical tip is to turn off non-essential notifications. These constant pings and alerts are like pebbles in a pond, causing ripples that disturb the calm surface of our minds. By reducing these digital distractions, you allow yourself to focus more deeply on the task at hand, whether it's a conversation with a loved one or a project at work. Imagine your mind as a calm lake, undisturbed by the winds of digital distraction. Each time you limit your screen time, you're allowing the waters to settle, creating space for clarity, creativity, and genuine connection. This doesn't mean you must eliminate screens from your life altogether, but rather find a balance that allows you to use technology as a tool, not a tether. As you begin to limit your screen time, you may find yourself more present in your daily interactions, more engaged in your own thoughts and experiences. You might discover that time seems to expand, allowing for more meaningful moments and less hurried living. This simple practice can transform your relationship with time and technology, helping you live a more deliberate and fulfilling life. Remember, the goal isn't to disconnect from the world, but to reconnect with it in a more mindful way. By taking control of your screen time, you're taking control of your life. Start today and see how much more time and energy you have for the things that truly matter. As we conclude this journey through the 5 habits that have profoundly reshaped my life in just 1 week, I hope you see these not as mere suggestions, but as invitations to explore what's possible in your own life. These habits, whether waking up early, committing to daily exercise, journaling, eating mindfully, or limiting screen time, are simple yet powerful tools for transformation. They worked for me, and I truly believe they can work for anyone willing to take that first step toward change. If any of these habits spoke to you, I challenge you to give them a try. Start small with just 1 habit and see how it feels. Tweak it, adjust it, make it your own. The Stoic principle here is progress over perfection. Focus on small, consistent actions that can lead to significant, lasting change. I'm eager to hear about your journey, so share your experiences in the comment. Let us know what you're trying and what challenges you're facing. This community thrives on the shared wisdom and support of everyone here. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay connected with future content. We have so much more to explore together. Share this video with those who might benefit from these habits, and let's continue to grow and improve together. Remember, it's the small steps that lead to monumental changes. Thank you for being part of this journey, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep striving for the best version of yourself. Stay strong and stay present.